This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. We may be a comic duo, but we take mental health very serious. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service and is completely online. BetterHelp is a network with over 30,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, answer a few questions, and BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network.
You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom-picked for you, more scheduling flexibility, and at a more affordable price. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/amp. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/amp.
There we go. Maybe that's better. Oh my gosh, I gotta get comfortable.
Okay.
All right, so hi
Are we
everybody.
recording?
Yeah, we're recording.
Hi. So if you followed us over here from the Clopen,
I had to stand up for a little bit.
Meredith
Maybe
had
I'll
to take
sit
a little
sideways.
jog. Yeah.
Hold, please. Tell everybody where they can find us for anxiety while I'm switching my stuff around here. Okay, we can tell them. Just kidding.
Find us on Facebook.
Anxiety
Anxiety
makes
makes
us on
me
Instagram.
poop.
We only have like 100 people.
Yeah, see,
All right.
that's one thing. Like, I very rarely go on Facebook. I never go on Instagram.
No, me
You look
neither.
so uncomfortable right now. I'm so sorry.
I have to like sit on my side. All
We'll
right,
be
everybody.
quick.
So listen,
We'll
I
be
had a
quick.
hysterectomy.
Meredith
On
just showed me her
October
scar,
25th.
and it looks really
It looks
good.
so
it looks good.
It's so good. It has healed so good, and there's something to be said about, just being healthy and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I
but
feel like you are recovering very fast.
I agree. And we'll get into like the whole like everything. And I want to mention to everybody that I already have a 100-page memoir on
Oh
all
my
of this
gosh.
that I have been typing for a week. So I was able to have 10 full days off of work. I did not even have to look at my email. So,
But I bet you did.
I didn't. I
You
didn't.
didn't? Really?
Nope, I did not.
Good.
I was just all about, my boss said, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I have restrictions for 5 more weeks.
Yeah.
And he is allowing me to work behind my computer, which
Yeah.
was great. Except for that on Tuesday, I took my out of office off
Yeah.
and started crying.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm back to the real,
Ugh.
because to me, this was very traumatic. This was very traumatic.
I'm not laughing.
No,
at
I'm
you,
laughing at
but
myself.
I believe it. I can't imagine,
Like,
I've had small surgeries. I've gotten my gallbladder taken out.
Yeah.
And I was like, boom, like nothing.
yeah.
It was laparoscopic.
Yeah.
It's these tiny little cuts. I got 4 tiny little cuts. I was up and around and moving and this and that. And
Yeah.
I think they gave me like 4 or 5 weeks off for that.
That's
and it was just
amazing.
because I did have like a more active job. I
Right,
didn't
same,
do much computer
same.
work.
Yeah.
They said if I was at a desk, I could go to work like a week later, or 10
Yeah,
days later,
yeah.
or something like that, but I was up and moving,
Oh, yeah. They do. They get you
I
up
can't
and going.
imagine.
So I am off 6 weeks, but I'm able to work from my computer, which I feel blessed because, that would have been too much for me to be
Yeah.
away just because I just am that kind of person.
Yeah.
But definitely had 10 days off and I needed all 10 days. I
Yeah.
probably should have taken off 2 weeks, but they were very kind to work with me and say, go ahead, you can come back, and all that.
Yeah.
So, but I've been planning this since January.
Yeah.
So 3 years ago, I think I kind of talked about this on another episode. 3 years ago, I was misdiagnosed. They did the whole ultrasound. I said, here's what's happening. And sorry, men that listen.
Yeah.
I had incredible cramping every month. I had bleeding. And then by the time I got to January, I bled every single day until
Yeah.
10/25 of 24.
Yeah.
It was incredible. But 3 years ago, I was misdiagnosed. The doctor that I went to go see said, oh, you know what? This is what happens in your 40s.
Yep.
It's perimenopause and it's getting older. And I lost it in her
Yeah.
office, lost all confidence and hope, and did not advocate for myself. For 3 years, I did nothing but endure. And you were right there with me, and
right.
Bestie and my other bestie and my husband and my family. Every single month was painful. Every single month was horrible. It kept getting worse and worse and worse. And then by the end of December of 2023, I noticed that my stomach was starting to stick out. And I had lost some weight.
Yeah.
I'm like under what I normally weigh. And I was like, okay. And I talked to my husband. I was telling you and Bestie, and I said, this is what's happening. And I think you guys were just sick of me complaining. So you got to find another doctor.
Like, we would never say that.
Please go get this out. We're sick of hearing about it, which is true. But I endured 3 years. So, this is something that now that I look back has been happening for probably 20 years since whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe since I had my thyroid, maybe.
You got the ablation.
So that is another thing that I did want to touch on. And it's also going in my book is 10 plus years ago, I got the ablation to help stop the bleeding, the clotting, all of that, and it did not help.
Yeah.
I remember speaking to other friends, and I would ask them, I said, how did it go for you? Oh my gosh, I don't even have it anymore.
Right.
Mine, no, I think it probably stopped for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's when it just, I feel like it made it worse. And I was like, wow, okay. So lost all like hope there too. And I thought, well, okay, whatever. And then I got put on hormones for a little bit, 9 years ago or whatever. And that didn't help at all. I've been a person that has never stopped cramping, bleeding, having PMS, anything that you think of. It's not been fun. So in December, I finally made an appointment in January. And so I found a great doctor. I did some research and, looked up different reviews from her and stuff. And I went to go see her. And the second she walked into the room and she sat down and she started asking me questions, I'm like, yep, this is the one that's going to help me with all of this. And she sat there for probably about an hour and was asking all the questions. So she was like, at the time I was running a lot. She goes, tell me, do you wear like support while you're running? Or, could it be this? Or when did you have your ablation? It could be this. And she was naming off stuff that I hadn't even thought about.
Right.
Okay, you had 2 kids. When were they? What year? She's writing all this stuff down. It was incredible how she like built this timeline of my life, for 23 years or whatever it was. And then she goes, I think I know what it is, but let's do like the physical exam and we'll see what's going on. And of course we're going to get another ultrasound because I looked at your ultrasound from 3 years ago and it showed some stuff. She didn't really mention it. So I'm going to go back real quick. So the ultrasound from 3 years ago showed that my uterus was 12 centimeters by some couple other numbers. Just for reference, a woman's uterus is 2 centimeters.
Oh my God.
Mine was already 12 3 years ago.
And that doctor was just like, meh.
Yeah, never got a call back.
Meh.
They found a small fibroid we all have it, right? Sometimes you have cysts and stuff like that. Never got a call back. I think there is a message in there. I've been kind of looking through all my charts. There is a message with me saying anything else that we need to do. They said, no, we'll see you next year. It was just kind of like that. And there are notes that say start of perimenopause, that maybe there's some abnormal bleeding, some abnormal cramping, suggested more Motrin. It's in there. It's in there. Now,
suggested
I'm not mad.
More Motrin.
Yeah, I'm not mad about that. I'm sure, a couple people that I've told this story to, they were like, is there a lawsuit? No. It's not like that. This all happened for a reason. The doctor that I had this year has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Not really worth all the pain that I've been through, but I'm
right.
glad that she was the one that got me through it all.
Yeah.
So in January we went and did, the physical and, we went and I got an ultrasound. She got me in like the day after. And so, in 3 years ago, my uterus weighed a little over 500 grams. Mm-hmm. Again, the normal is like, I don't even know, it's
10.
Under 10. Yeah. So 3 years ago it was about 500. When they did the ultrasound, they couldn't really tell because they couldn't really see a lot because it was filling my whole lower cavity, she said, my whole lower abdomen. So then what I did was I waited until October 25th because Steve was turning 60. I wanted to party. Yeah. I just wanted to get through summer, and she was okay with it, but she was kind of like, I went to see her every month. She would check and say, is now the time? I have time, in 2 Fridays.
Yeah.
And I said, I really want to do this. She said, okay, I'll see you in September. We'll talk
You're
about
like,
October.
I've waited this long.
That's exactly what happened. And then, so it all came, to the final of October 25th. So we were going to have a laparoscopic surgery. So she told me all about it. And she said, but we may have to cut you, right? Yeah. So it's very similar to a C-section for those that may not know. She goes, but we'll get in there and we're going to do it as minimally invasive as possible. I wake up on the 25th and I have so much heat in my midsection and so much pain. And the second I woke up, the nurse said, she had to cut you.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So I knew what the pain was from. Unfortunately, they couldn't manage my pain very good.
Yeah.
As soon as I would wake up from the anesthesia, my blood pressure and my heart rate would skyrocket. So I would see her immediately walk over, probably more morphine or whatever it was that they were giving me.
They were like, beep, beep, hitting that button.
And she was, I could feel it go through and I would fall back to sleep. And what I didn't know was that it was hours and hours.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. You know, when you're in
Right.
recovery, for those that have had a surgery or in recovery, you have no sense of time.
No.
So later on when I was talking to Steve and Julia, she's like, yeah, you were in there for, I think it was like 3 or 4 hours where they just could not get it. Like they couldn't give me stable base. Not really stable, but yes, because my blood
pressure,
my blood pressure and my heart rate would just be like skyrocketing.
Your body in pain. Right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And I like I told you, I am someone that I feel like I have a great pain tolerance, but this was way more than I signed up for. I have told everyone that. I had no idea. I mean, and women go through this all the time. I know people that, if they're listening and they had C-sections, they're like, no big deal, no big deal. So when my doctor did not even come to see me on Friday. She said, it's not even worth it. I want you to just pain manage, work with the nurses. I'll come see you Saturday. We'll talk about how everything looks and stuff. So I already knew I wasn't going to see her.
Yeah.
So she came in on Saturday and she walked in smiling. She's like, first of all, you look fantastic. I hear that you've been walking around, which I did. I made sure I wanted to get that catheter out. I wanted to get the IV
get
out.
The hell out and get
I
home.
wanted to get out. My son was coming home, to visit me for the night. And so I was walking back and forth to the bathroom, even though it frickin' hurt. And I got a funny story about the first time I had to get up. And she said, your uterus weighed 970 grams, which is over 2 pounds.
That's crazy.
Or about a 15-week-old uterus.
That's crazy.
That's what I was carrying around all year. And she said it was putting so much pressure on your organs that we had to make sure, like, I was talking about this to my mom, I think. And she said, what they do is they like take them all out, throw them back in. But for me, they were all like pressed up and I had heartburn from it. I thought I had IBS, which I didn't. Now we know. It is incredible how much more room my body has.
Yeah.
And it's
without
just,
that just taking up half of your abdomen.
It up for how many years?
Yeah.
Like I walked around like as if I was 15 months pregnant, which is not like super uncomfortable, but it's enough for someone that wants to run and hang out, and the jeans don't fit anymore, but yet you're losing weight. So I couldn't eat a lot because my stomach had been pushed up. I couldn't empty my bladder because my bladder was actually more like looking like the kidney shape. So everything this week has been like moving back in, and I kind of joked around with you and we had a little bit of a hysterectomy party on Sunday.
Yes.
And I'll like maybe eat something and I can feel the gas like poop, and it like comes out. I'm like, oh, I could feel that all the way through my intestines, where normally it would get stuck.
Right.
Like a pain would get stuck, or I could not eat a lot. I still can't really eat a lot.
Yeah.
Like I was only eating like half a sandwich.
I was wondering, are we seeing the end of an era of almond mom?
Maybe.
Are you going to eat a whole meal now?
Isn't that hilarious?
Yes.
That is why I got into the habit of only snacking.
Yeah.
Because that's all I could take in.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's so crazy. And like all the IBS symptoms that I thought that I had last year are gone. Everything's normal. My bladder feels normal. That was one thing. I had to go back to the hospital because a few days later I would use the bathroom and I would get up and I'd be like, do I have to go again? And I've never once had a UTI or bladder infection.
Yeah.
And the best way I can describe it is and I've been drinking so much water that I would go to the bathroom and I would feel like chills or goosebumps on the inside, almost like my bladder deflated, but it gave me these weird, like, just thinking about it now gives me goosebumps. It's a really weird feeling. So when I saw my doctor on Friday, she said, you're fine. It's not a UTI. It's your bladder learning how to expand and contract again.
Get out.
Because it's been so pushed up for years.
It's like, I have all this room for liquid.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not peeing myself. There's no more blood, thank goodness. There's nothing. There's literally nothing.
God,
I mean, way too much information, but I mean, people should know.
You know what?
Should know to be your own advocate.
Yeah, you texted me, we were texting back and forth, and you said you shared the doctor's notes with the surgery and what happened and this and that.
Yes.
And you go, finally, I don't feel crazy.
Yes.
And I was like, I never thought you were crazy.
Yeah, right.
I said, what I think is crazy is that as women, we, at a very young age, we start menstruating, right?
Yep.
And we know it's going to be painful. we just accept it for what it is and we get used to it.
Yep.
And we go through so much. And you see videos now of where they put those things on the men and have them feel the menstrual
labor pains or whatever
cramps and stuff like that. And they're like, they can't handle it at 5. And this woman's like, well, turn it up to 10. Yeah, that's a normal day on my, my first day of my, and it is insane. The shit that we go through.
Yep.
And then they wonder why we're crabby.
Yep.
And you've been going through it like plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of women, I've read up on some things now that I'm writing and stuff, and they say 20, 30 years and be your own advocate.
Yeah.
Please, if you're uncomfortable, or like for me, I started looking back at all my notes because from knowing that something was going on 3 years ago, I started documenting every single time a period would start, even though I kind of felt like it was just constantly going, which is anemia, right?
Yeah.
So I was always tired, and this last year was the worst.
Yeah.
Just exhaustion. I mean, I was napping on lunch.
Right.
I would go do a whole bunch of stuff, and then I'd have to be like setting my alarm for 30 minutes of a nap because I couldn't get through the afternoon if I didn't. And that's gone.
Not you.
And that's gone.
That's not you.
Yeah, I'm not crabby. My husband isn't bothering me. Ladies, go get a hysterectomy. Your husbands won't bother you anymore.
Dang.
But no, truly.
That's what I got to do, huh? No.
The biggest one that I think, is it science? Is it coincidence? I don't know. Is it because I'm not working out right now? Is every single night for the past probably 9 months, right? Maybe even the past year, I'd have to change my shirt or my pajamas at night because I would wake up in this weird, bitter sweat.
Yeah.
Whether I worked out or not. Do you know that's gone?
Really?
That did not. After Friday night, the night of the 25th, I have not woken up once and have to change or had that bitter, strange smell.
Really?
Isn't that weird? I'm going to mention it to my doctor and see what she thinks. But I'm starting to go through all my notes and I'm like, that's gone. That's gone. I had so many symptoms. And as my little brother would say, he's a paramedic out in Madison. He had called me, my brothers, my mom, my dad, they've all been checking on me. You guys have all been checking on me. It's been amazing. I couldn't believe all the people, by the way. I just want to say thanks to everybody. So many people checked in on me. I didn't even realize I knew so many people. My little brother said, if you don't go out like that, it's just not you.
Yeah.
Like, it's always so extreme with me, like my
right.
thyroid was extreme and, this was kind of extreme. I mean, obviously, thank you, God, it's not cancer. I don't have to go through any treatments. There are many other people going out there worse, but I want people to know, like, you may
have prevented something like that from happening.
Right.
So.
It usually doesn't. So it's called adenomyosis. It usually doesn't cause that, but what it did was it just filled my lower abdomen, and that's very uncomfortable, which then could have affected way more than what I endured. So, yeah.
Wild.
So definitely wanted to talk about that and writing a book and, all that fun stuff about it.
Let's talk about your first time getting out of the hospital bed.
So let's talk about that. So,
because this is a great story. I already know this story and it's great.
Well, I'm going to make it even more dramatic because the more I think about it, the more it is just so funny to me. So if you've been listening, I consider myself an athlete or someone that works out a lot or whatever. I'm going to get back into racing next year. I haven't raced in 3 years. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Have not raced in 3 years. I have not worn a bib, so I am ready for next year. So they cut through all your muscles. We were just talking about that, and she had to go a little bit further for me, and they cut through all your muscles, and then they sew you all back up. Well, I feel great today. It's day, what is it? 12, 13 days, maybe? I don't know. And so I'm feeling really good. But I was laying in bed and they had not moved me from the bed. I had the warm towel. I was getting a little bit hot. So I was starting to just kind of like, unlayer everything. And I did not realize that I had a catheter. So the second I realized that I had one, and because I'm like laying in bed, I'm like, I have drank bottles or, cups and cups of ice water and I haven't peed yet. I wonder why.
You're like, should I better check and make sure I'm not pissing myself?
Right? And I'm like, can I just not feel myself, And the nurse comes in and I'm like, I probably should try and go to the bathroom. And she's like, oh, well, it's pretty full. She goes, if you want, we'll have to get you walking around to get that out. And I'm like, fuck yeah. We're doing it right now.
Let's
we are getting up.
Yeah.
I couldn't get up. Could not get up. Could not get up. So I'm laying there. I take all the blankets off and even just like a slight turn to my right, trying to even get my elbow underneath, I literally could not move. Like my legs, nothing. And I love when I was telling this story and Bestie was like, oh, were you numb? No. No,
Yeah.
I had no core muscles.
I thought maybe you had an epidural.
Yeah, right. That's you. You asked me
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Nope. It absolutely felt like I did, though. I was like using, I don't know what I was using, my own skin on my knees to move my legs over. And then I just laid there. I started sweating. Yeah, right. Picking up like my skin, like flopping my legs over. And I'm just like, what is happening? Why can I not move? So I'm like trying to put the bed up and forget that. That just hurts, scrunching yourself in half.
God.
And so this itty bitty cute little nurse who is pregnant, I don't know when she's due, is holding my catheter. And I look over at her and I'm like, oh my God, how do women do that? And how do women do this? And she kind of giggled. She's like, I don't know. They just kind of like use their elbows and their feet. And literally stood there holding my pee in her hand. I was like, this is horrible.
Dude,
this is horrible.
Which I'm surprised my sister didn't bring up, because when she had her first, she had a C-section.
Yeah.
And she had an epidural.
Yeah.
And the nurse was telling her, move over to the other bed. And she goes, I can't fucking move anything. It's like her top half was like, but it's like, can you move my legs over?
Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine. And I didn't have an epidural. And, I was wondering, I'm like, did I have a block? I'm like, nope, I didn't have a block. I just was not used to.
Yeah.
Well, no one's used to getting your core cut in half.
Right.
But I was like, this is so strange, the pain.
I'm just remembering, too, when you're telling all of us the story and you said you had your head, like...
I
don't even know how to explain it, so, like, people can imagine what you were doing.
So I actually used the right side of my head as, like... I'm laying in bed, I kind of swung my right leg over and I'm using my right elbow and my left foot, so I don't know if you can picture all this, is pushing, because I'm 5'8", so the beds are small, right? So my left foot is pushing up against the bed to try and like lift me, so I'm using the top of my head and my left foot to kind of like arch my rib cage to roll myself up.
I'm crying right now. Just imagining you do.
I was so embarrassed in front of this nurse.
She's just standing there with your
clearly
pee.
has never went through this
She's
yet.
like, girl, you better hurry up. You're about to overflow.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So then I sat up and I'm like, okay, I'm either going to puke or throw up, because that was just way too much for this old body. And so I sat there for a little bit. And she just patiently waited, right? I mean, there was no encouragement. I could have, like, a little extra bedside manner would have been nice. But
she's like, I know you're a fall risk, but if you think my pregnant ass is going to catch you.
Oh my gosh, right? I was not. That was my fear. That was absolutely my fear. I'm going to fall on this girl. Oh gosh. It was crazy. So then I finally like stood up and again, she had just the most, and she didn't say anything, which I almost feel like was probably better.
Yeah.
Like she didn't try to touch me. I think she did maybe put her arm out once. I was like, I can't do that. I got to do this on my own. It was kind of like, I think I might be the kind of person that when I'm in pain or trying to do something, I don't want to be touched.
Right.
Let me figure this out. So then it was like so then we looped around the nurses. She did make me feel better. She said, no one gets around 2 loops. And I said, well, we're going again then, because I'm extreme. And then halfway through, I started to lose my shit, because my brain was like, no, we're done.
Yeah.
So I like kind of held her shoulder. I'm like, no, I think I better go back to bed, you know?
Yeah.
So, but that made it. I had to got the catheter out. Thank God. That was a relief. And then I just focused on the IV. That absolutely drove me crazy. I just felt so like, but it helped with the pain medicine that was coming every 2 hours that first night. So can't really complain about the IV.
I will deal with this.
Yeah. But I don't wish that on my worst enemy, and I don't know. And I don't know if, C-sections are happening all the time, right? And so they do say it's comparable to that. Woof.
I'm sure it is, yeah.
Yeah.
You had your abdomen cut open.
It's very similar, and I know you get to have a baby and you do all this stuff with 7 or 8 pound baby. I didn't have anything but my head myself to try and lift my own head up, So I can't even imagine what moms with C-sections go through. So
yeah.
Wow. But yeah, it was it was hard for me. It was way more than I signed up for, truly.
Yeah.
Although my doctor was very good at letting me know, you may wake up in it, if I can't. And so she did. She told me I could not see anything. So she had a resident on call that she chose not to use. She chose someone that has been around in her practice. So I had 2 surgeons.
Yeah.
I actually had 2 anesthesiologists. One was with me from the start because she was wanting to see how you go from start to finish. So she was with me. It was kind of neat. Every time I woke up, she was just sitting there real calmly. It was kind of neat. So I had 2 anesthesiologists. I had extra nurses in there because they used me as a training. So, I feel good about that. So, and I also want to tell people, I don't know if a lot of people know this because this doesn't happen during C-sections, only during hysterectomies, that you are intubated and they move you from your bed to a very slim, sticky padded bed.
What?
Because they angle you. They angle you back.
Get out.
Your pelvic bone is over your head. Like, you know what I mean? Like on an angle. It's above. So, and I, thank goodness, because that would have freaked me out. I did see it on TikTok. The one night that I decided to look up a hysterectomy, the woman said they put you on a sticky pad because they lift you and you're angled back. So they have to intubate you to make sure that you are good.
But I bet it pulls all your shit
That's exactly
away from
what it was.
right?
So it's not,
Yeah.
C-sections are flat. I believe C-sections are completely flat. But a hysterectomy, when they have to, I don't know if it's just the laparoscopic or if it's for both.
Well,
they angle you back.
My curiosity is your intestines in front of the baby or behind?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Mine was all up and back and out because my kidneys and my back hurt. So for me, mine was in front and everything was in back up and to the side.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. And maybe all people are different, like maybe women are different.
That was my aunt went in for surgery and they found out all of her organs were like not in the normal places.
Yeah. I'm thinking with a baby. So obviously everyone that's listening, I know I think we have a couple nurses and stuff that listen. It is the lowest part of your midsection, so I'm wondering baby moves up and
because baby drops, right? Does it drop below your intestines?
I would think so, but someone can correct us. I don't know. I always felt like baby was the lowest.
I feel like I can Google it, but I don't.
And when I had like gas and stomach pains, it was up here and around the edges, and then my back really hurt. So I feel like mine was all pushed to the side, up and back. I could be wrong, but I feel just personal experience. That's what it felt like. Because if I laid on my back, I could feel my intestines and nothing was underneath that. Oh, maybe my bladder was off to the side too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so for those that, and it's not really, because I knew about the sticky pad and like how I was going to be laid out, I wasn't nervous about it. They lay you down in it and it is sticky. Like it doesn't make your skin sticky.
Right.
But it's safety. So you're not sliding down. They need you to be, and then you have the big lights and stuff. So
I know when I got my gallbladder out and I like woke up from surgery and I was like, fuck, they had me like naked.
Oh my gosh. Because the gallbladder's up a little higher, right?
Well, I was so thankful. They were like, you can leave your underwear on. And I was like,
oh, wow.
Oh, okay, cool. Because my scars are like.
They're higher up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I'm like, my titties were out for sure. Just bloop. Hello.
The one thing I did notice, pre-op, they put you in the sticky socks or whatever, those walking socks, and the gown. I was going to say apron. And what you have to do is put iodine in your nose. They have this neat thing because you're going to have oxygen. So you use a Q-tip with iodine on it and the nurse helps you. You do it for 15 seconds, twice on each side. They have realized that keeps infection down.
Really?
And then you have 6 of these very warm, large towels that are, yes. So I had to do that, right? One for each arm, neck, and chest, and shoulders, and one for each leg and in between your toes. I thought that was cool. And I remember tying myself on my gown. Like, I had to tie up here and I tied up here. And then when I was getting into the recovery room, this was after the pain management time.
Yeah.
I was getting into like my own recovery room where I was going to hang out. I realized that it was all untied. So I was like, oh my gosh.
They saw everything.
They saw everything.
Well, you did go get a pedicure before you went for your surgery.
I did, and my nails were did. Yeah.
So I'm sure everything else was fully perfect.
I think I was like so ready. let's talk about prepping before this.
No, my God.
I feel like I did a very good job.
Yeah.
So I made sure that every single thing was done that would bother me while I was resting for 10 days, 2 weeks, 4, 5 weeks. Because I cannot lift anything.
Right.
They tell you, do not lift anything for 5 or 6 weeks, whatever the situation is. And so I promised her that I wouldn't. She goes, I know you people that like to work out. She goes, please don't. There are a lot of stitches in there. Don't do it. Right. And obviously no sex,
you
right?
will bust your shit open.
So yeah. So she said, no lifting or anything like that. So pre-surgery, I took the whole month, and every weekend I would do like a different room, and I had like my toiletries in the right spot and washed all my towels and all my sheets and kind of did a little Zen bedroom.
Yeah.
You know, I have like a blue light so that I knew that in the middle of the night, I probably would want some kind of night light. So I have a blue light, like literally a blue light bulb that kind of just is very soft so I could sleep through it. I did not sleep in my bed the first week. I did buy a recliner chair.
Yeah.
That was a lifesaver. Yeah. I bought a unbelievably oversized, fluffy white blanket that went with me everywhere. I could sit on it. I could cover it up. It held my head up to sleep. I made sure I had 2 great pillows. I mean, dishes were done. Everything was done. Car was cleaned. Like, I have not thought about doing anything but getting better.
Good.
I did do a load of laundry a couple days ago, Sunday.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
No, I'm totally bringing this up.
Everybody was yelling at you.
This is why you don't do anything for 6 weeks. So I thought, you know, I need some kind of exercise. I know this sounds silly because everyone's going to be yelling at me. Don't you be doing anything. But what I would do was I would just take the clothes that I wore for the day and I would just slowly walk downstairs and I would put them in the laundry carefully, one piece at a time, and I'd wash them. And 2 days ago, I was probably kind of feeling like a little cocky, like confident, you know.
I got this.
And I squatted down.
Oh, God.
Like my daughter said, you dropped it like it's hot, and you shouldn't have. I squatted
Yeah.
down to get my stuff out of the dryer and felt a pain on my left side.
Oh.
I sat down on the floor, again, thought I was going to puke or faint. I'm like, this is why they tell you. Not, so even though you're feeling good,
Right.
you got so much stuff on the inside going on, I had to come upstairs. I took a Motrin. I took a 3-hour nap. That's how bad of the pain and the sweat just on my head, you know, from the pain of it. So I didn't do laundry today. I'm not doing anything. Julia, I haven't driven yet. I'm not driving till Monday.
I've been really proud of you because I know it's hard for you to sit around.
Yeah. My mom and dad keep checking in too. My dad keeps going, go slow. He keeps texting me, go slow.
Yeah.
Like, we all know you.
Yeah.
I truly physically cannot though.
Yeah.
Like, even if I tried. I walk to the mailbox and back. I do around 5 p.m. is like my witching hour.
Yeah.
The scar kind of starts hurting a little bit. I get a little loopy in my brain. So I do loops around my house.
Yeah.
Inside.
Yeah.
You know, I just kind of go from my kitchen to the foyer to the front room to the living room. I just kind of loop. Like the first couple days, it was only 2 loops, and I'd sit back down. I'm up to like 20 now. So it's about 15 minutes. I'm exhausted.
That's good.
Exhausted. And my family's so funny. I start doing them, and my husband's like, yep, she's doing her loops again. Loop number 1. And they make it so much fun. And so on that note, please have a support system.
Yeah.
Please have a support. I have the best support system.
That's awesome.
The best. It's incredible. I cannot, I mean, the situation and the experience sucks.
Right.
But if I did not have the support system that I have, I don't know how I would have gotten through it. Truly. And I'm not just saying that.
Even doing laundry and stuff like that.
Yeah. Julia took me shopping today. She did everything. She was like, don't grab that cart. Oh, sure, I'll get that. What do you need? Yep. She did not let me touch a thing. She let me pay.
She's like, I'll let you grab that credit card out your pocket.
But no, she didn't let me touch anything. You know, it's neat. Like even taking pizza out of the oven. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, because being like kind of halfway bent over.
Yeah,
like
don't
that,
do it.
That's when I throw my back out. I'm taking laundry out. I'm taking something out of the oven. I'm emptying the dishwasher, and then can't fucking move.
Yep, exactly.
So yeah, that's because I have no core muscles.
Right. What? Neither do I right now.
Which is what you're experiencing is my life right now. Except I wasn't cut open. I'm fine.
Gosh. And you got to be gentle with yourself. Like I'm
Yeah.
still very swollen, you know, but okay, so I've lost 8 pounds.
Yeah.
I have a picture that I sent to one of our friends that it shows pre-surgery, like the morning of, and then like yesterday morning, and it's an 8-pound difference.
Wow.
But 2.1 whatever of that.
Right.
And I'm not swollen anymore. You know, my
Yeah.
feet and hands sometimes would get swollen. That hasn't happened since surgery. It is incredible to me what the body goes through to protect itself or to try and heal itself.
And we're going,
It's incredible to
everybody
me.
goes through it. It's normal.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's just a womanly thing.
No, please.
Listen to yourself.
Yeah.
You are one of the best people I know that you take your body very seriously
do.
and you listen to it and you say,
Yeah.
nope, this isn't right. And I will find somebody
Yep.
to prove me right. I am not fucking around,
Yeah.
you know?
It took me 3 years, but
Yeah.
again, I found the right doctor. I found the right team.
Yeah.
I feel like I am healing so quick.
Yeah.
Again, you know, laundry and the inside stuff, but truly, I mean, the scar
And she
looks
really
great.
did like work with you for a year. Let's try this. Let's try this. Let's
Yes.
try this. Okay, it's not working. We're doing it.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, let's mention that. So
Yeah.
we did try hormones.
Yeah.
Because they're supposed to stop all the bleeding and cramping. Unfortunately, because I was already in what they call stage 4 or severe adenomyosis, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, it actually made it worse. I almost went to the ER.
Yeah.
And she, excuse me, she actually had been on vacation during the time that I started it. So I reached out, and her counterpart or partner, whatever that was helping with her patient, said, have her keep taking it until doctor comes back. And I said, you know what? Can't do it. I was sleeping all weekend.
Yeah.
So I had lost just too much. So yeah, I stopped that. So I was my own advocate for that and said, this is not right. And so as soon as she got back, she called me and she said, opposite effects, then, you know, come on in, let's talk surgery. So
Yeah.
pretty interesting. And again,
You know,
it's not the most severe case,
Right.
but
I would.
to me, this has been the most traumatic that I've been through. So let's, you know, I want to talk about it and make sure that people know that if you're feeling these kind of things, if you're having these kind of symptoms, you know, if you're exhausted, if you're having just way more, you know, anything that's happening to your body, find the right doctor. And, you know, if you know that something is wrong with your body, like I knew something was wrong. I just wasn't listened to 3 years ago. It just wasn't like, you know, I just kind of felt like I was a number. Oh, you know, like she had made her decision up and it was like, nope, this is what happens. Don't keep fighting. Don't get disappointed like I did, you know? And I'm also wondering if it kind of caused some of the depression I had last year, right? I got some medicine that's helping me. I know I understand that, you know, my son left for Florida and stuff, but then I'm also going through all this.
Right.
My mind feels clearer, you know, like, so it just, when your body is sick and it's not feeling good, there's a lot of things that happen that you don't realize because you just kind of go day to day to day, and it's like survival mode, right? So I think that's what I did.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So 4 more weeks. I can't wait. I can start working out, lifting, and running
Oh
again.
my
So
gosh.
I'm ready. 2025. Let's go.
New year, new us.
Let's do it.
I've said that about a lot of things. I feel like 2025 is going to be a major year for a lot of things for a lot of us.
Yeah.
I've been wishing happy, healthy, wealthy for a lot of people.
I think it's going to be our year next
you know,
year.
It's,
Not too many people are saying that right now because of the week we're going through, but I feel like this is it. So I get, you know how you just feel, you get the tingles, you just feel it,
do.
right? Yeah.
I've had weird feelings.
Yeah.
So
Good ones?
yeah. You know, I don't want to say they're good or bad.
Okay.
They're
different.
just different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I guess I could say they're pretty positive. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening to my story.
Oh my gosh.
And thanks for being there for me.
It's such a crazy story. Of course.
I feel like I didn't talk to you one of the days. Like all I did was sleep. Like maybe it was like Saturday or Sunday.
Well, I knew. Yeah.
I mean, we kept our Snapchat streaks, you know, but I feel like there was only one day that maybe we didn't connect.
Because I called Julia the one day and she texted me, oh, I'm at work. Can I call you back? I said, well, I was just calling to see if mom was awake. I didn't want to call her because I don't want to wake her up, you know. And I go, it's no big deal. I happened to be passing through, you know, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll sneak in for a visit.
Yep.
But no way was I going to fucking call you because I knew if you were sleeping and you heard the phone ring, you'd get up and be like, yeah, come over. And no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, the first few days were rough. But then you called me the day after, then we talked for a long time and gossiped, and that was super fun.
Yeah.
I laughed and it hurt.
I know.
Everyone was, a couple people were asking me, they're like, how's it going? I'm like, it only hurts when I laugh, and that's not good.
Shit. I know. I try not to make you laugh. I'm sorry.
That is strange.
Sorry.
Sneezing, coughing, laughing.
Ooh.
Don't even try to do anything. Just be quiet for a few days until you can get
that
through
was
it.
when I got my gallbladder taken out. Everyone said take a pillow and press it again. You know, if you have to cough or laugh or cough or sneeze or whatever. And I was laughing because you sent me the snap and you're like leaned over the chair and you're like, this is how I cough.
That's all I could do. I literally had a frog in my throat since Friday. And on Sunday, I was like, I got to get this thing out. But it hurt so bad to cough that I would literally be like, like, and it wouldn't be enough.
It feels like your insides are just going to pop out, right?
My God.
Yeah.
You know, I was telling Julia, we had a family member that had like open heart surgery. Yeah. And I remember him saying like the second day he had to sneeze.
Oh my God.
And he just thought that you might as well be dead. You know, because I can't even imagine.
Kill you.
Oh yeah. I can't even imagine.
That's wild.
Yeah. So don't do that. Stay away from the pepper.
Yeah.
Stay away from dust.
The Cajun seasoning is always what gets me going. Yeah. I say if it ain't seasoned if you ain't sneezing.
Yeah, but don't do that after surgery.
Don't do it after surgery, though. Eat very bland boiled chicken.
And have someone else do it.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Good.
Yeah, well, thanks.
Well, I'm glad you're well on your way
I am
to
so
recovery.
well on my way. I am so excited.
I knew you would be, but I just didn't want you to push yourself.
Yeah,
so.
I'm not. I know I got 4.5 more weeks, and then it'll be rocking and rolling.
And then you're going to be like kicking our ass, just running around and running 100-mile marathons.
Got a few plans next year. We'll see how that turns out, you know.
We'll be there to root you on.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
All right.
Talk to you next time.
See ya.